I need to make it very clear that at no point have I stopped the National Treasurer from performing her duties. I have some few checks here, photocopies of checks that I signed with the National Treasurer in recent times. They are all here and they are very visible. I decided to make a few samples of it. This is the signature of Oluchi Opara signing checks with me last year. Some of these checks were in June, some were in July, signed by me and Opara.
After the suspended National Treasurer of the Labour Party came to Arise News, today some allegations against the National Chairman, Julius Abure, about the embezzlement of funds. So many people were angry with Abure, including myself, because I was seeing it as something that is too much on him, all angles, allegation, and fight in the Labour Party. And I was angry not because of the Labour Party, because of the image of P2B. But recently, that was yesterday, Abure came to the Arise News to defend himself and make claims about what has transpired in the Labour Party with proof and evidence. I want you to watch this video to the end. It worth your time. It will clarify your mind about everything that has been going on in the Labour Party.
Today, I appreciate you for giving me this privilege and this opportunity to be here to do very few remarks and few responses to some of the allegations made by the National Treasurer, the estranged Treasurer of our party. Well, first and foremost, I need to make it abundantly clear that I'm the first national chairman of the party to be able to, that I've been able to make and ensure that we have financial records in the office. Before my assumption of office as national chairman of the party, which was in 2021, there was no financial records in the office. Oluchi Opara has been the national treasurer of the party from 2014 to date. I will challenge her to bring all her records from 2014 that she became national treasurer to 2020-2021 before I assumed office as the national chairman of the party. Today, as we speak, there's an accountant in the office. All the books of accounts are opened. The cash book, all the vouchers, receipt of payment, all available in the office, including all the bank statements are all available in the office. I must make it clear that I have never at any point in time stopped or prevented Oluchi Opara from carrying out her duties as national treasurer of the party. What is her duties? If you look at our party constitution, Article page 28 is very clear that the responsibility of the national treasurer of the party is, number one, to receive monies and then pay same immediately to the party accounts. Today, it's no longer in vogue for monies to be paid to the treasurer who will pay into the account. People do direct transfers, and all these resources, all this money enter the party account directly. The second role of the national treasurer is to compile financial reports and then present to the House. The third function of national treasurer is to co-sign checks with me, and I have the right to sign checks with either the national secretary or the national treasurer of the party. I need to make it very clear that at no point have I stopped the national treasurer from performing her duties. I have some few checks here, photocopies of checks that I signed with the national treasurer in recent times. They are all here and they are very visible. I decided to make a few samples of it. This is the signature of Oluchi Opara signing checks with me last year. Some of these checks were in June, some were in July, signed by me and Opara as the national treasurer of the party. Some were signed in August, some in December. All these are available And I'm sure that as soon as I leave this studio, I will use your platform to display so that you can have it. I have never at any point in time prevented her from doing or performing her duties. In June, when it was time for us to compile our records, abundantly we wrote to all the banks of all our banks, Fidelity Bank, Zenith Bank, named them. And we directed the bank that she should be obliged with all the statements of account to enable her compile whatever records she wanted to compile. I must state here clearly that those records are available in the office. But when it became apparent that she needed those records, we immediately obliged the bank. We immediately wrote to the bank, and these are all the letters we wrote to the bank to send all the bank statements to her so that she can go ahead to compile all her records. At no time have we stopped Oluchi from performing her functions as the national treasurer of the party. I must also put on record here that it is not true that she said the party have collected over 3.5 billion. I need to make it abundantly clear that we already have audited reports made by a certified auditor of the party. The party has an external auditor who has reviewed all the records, and we have all the audited statements of account from 2022 to 2023.
Okay.
All these records are available. The audited statement of account is here. I have them here. The total money in summary that entered the party between 2022 and now is 1,300,000,000. Nothing more, nothing less. We also got 700 million, which were the campaign funds that went straight to the campaign organization for the campaigns. I didn't know, and I cannot reconcile where she got the 3.5 billion that she talked about. I want to challenge her that she should make the records available where she arrived at the sum of 3.5 billion as money generated during the election.
Mr. Abure, let me come in here. Okay, so thank you very much for coming to respond to some of the very weighty allegations made by Madam Oluchi Okpara, treasurer, until yesterday when the party suspended her for 6 months. Perhaps that's why you refer to her as estranged. I have some questions around. I'm sure you watched the interview yesterday. But the first thing I wanted to say was, yes, after yesterday's meeting, the National Working Committee said that what was in your account was 2.1 billion, as opposed to the 2 billion you just mentioned, because you said 1.3 billion, then 700,000 naira for campaign funds. That's making 2 billion. But what was said yesterday was 2.1 billion. So maybe to check that in terms of aligning with what the statement that was made yesterday. Sorry, let me just ask my questions. Yeah, because what was said was different. It was 2.1 billion. You just said 2 billion. Now, in terms of what she mentioned, number one, on her suspension, she says that she missed the flight that was meant to face the disciplinary committee. Why was that hasty decision made, despite the fact that she made an allegation? What would be assumed to naturally progress from that would be an investigation to either verify her claims or to debunk her claims. But what happened yesterday was a swift response by the National Working Committee and the Disciplinary Committee to suspend her for 6 months. Is there going to be an investigation instituted? Because when an allegation is made and she says she has evidence and proof, I don't know if an investigation has been done and you've been found, not culpable. Well, let me also interrogate what you said with regards to the signatories to the account. She made mention of the fact that the former chairman, Alhaji Abdulkader Abdul Salam, passed away in 2020, 29th of December to be precise. 14 million naira was paid into the party account February 18, 2021. She said that most of the 14 million withdrawn from the same account between 28th of February to 7th of March 2021, and she didn't co-sign. At the time, there were only 3 signatories to the account: yourself, the late chairman, and herself. Who signed those checks? How did those sums of amount leave the account if one signatory had passed, she wasn't aware of it, and you were the other signatory to the account? So just to respond to those things, please, because it's just so her suspension without investigating the matter, is that the process of the Labour Party? And of course, the issue of the amount of money that was withdrawn in that period.
Well, I will start with the very last question. The late chairman, Abdul Qadir Abdul Salam, passed on the 29th of December 2020. And on the 31st of December, we had a new acting national chairman who took over, Maria Lebeke. And we effected all the changes in the account. Change of signatories were effected. And that was why we were able to run the party from January 2021 to March 2021, when we had the NEC meeting in Benin, where I emerged as the national chairman of the party. All those money withdrawn between January 2021 and March were all withdrawn, and we co-signed with the acting chairman of the party, Maria Lebeke. I was the national secretary of the party at the time, and there was no way I could have withdrawn money from the account, or any person could have withdrawn money from the account without the A signatory. We were able to withdraw because we effected all the changes in the signatory. We brought in the new acting national chairman, Maria Lebeke, who co-signed all the checks with us. She equally, Oluchi Opara, was one of those who also signed some of those checks. For instance, all the money that was spent during the NEC meeting in March were co-signed between the acting chairman and the treasurer. So change of signatories were effected, and we needed to run the party. We needed to do a lot of other activities of the party as at that time. And it was Maria Lebeke that was the co-signatory to that account. These facts are very clear and they are obvious. There can be no vacuum in leadership. There cannot be no vacuum in running an organization. And therefore, immediately he passed, we had acting national chairman. You know, some of us have very shallow memory and we hardly remember some of these things. But if you go to your records, even on the news, you recall that we had an acting national chairman for that period, Maria Lebeke, who acted during that period, and she was the great number A signatory of that account. The facts are there, and then people can easily verify it.
Very quickly,
now
so the treasurer wasn't aware. So the treasurer wasn't aware.
Let me.
No, so the treasurer wasn't aware of the change of signatories.
I have stated here clearly that she was aware of the change of signatory. You can go to the bank, Zenith Bank, to go and confirm. We should not sit here and just make allegations. Go to the bank and confirm who were the signatory to that account between January 2021 and March 2021. The records are there. Bank statement will not lie. Banks will not tell you lie. Even as Arise Television, you can write to the bank for them to give you the facts, and I'm sure that they will gladly oblige you. Change of signatories were effected. Oluchi Opara was aware of it. She participated in the running of the party at that time. She co-signed almost all those checks along with us and the acting national chairman. I say here very clearly that most of the funds were released during the NEC meeting in Benin. She signed all those checks. Go and verify. I'm saying so very clearly. And I can, probably I don't have that account number here. You can have that account number. Reach out to the account officer. Do your independent investigation and you see that it is very, very clear. She was aware. She's only being mischievous by misinforming members of the public of the true state of affairs in Labour Party. The picture she has painted is a very wrong picture of the administration of Labour Party.
Mr. Abure.
And I'm very sure that's why the National Working Committee is enraged by her character and her behavior. Some of these issues, when it was brought to the attention of the National Working Committee, the National Working Committee had already set up a committee to look into the matters that were raised. She left, disregarded the committee, and went ahead to make these allegations all around the place. She said Peter Obi intervened. Peter Obi intervened and also asked her to hold on that those issues were going to be resolved. But she left, disregarded the party leadership, disregarded the internal mechanism of the party, and decided to make these allegations that are spurious, that are baseless, on the leadership of the party.
Mr. Abure, a number of questions. No, if I may come in here, we've had your
Yes.
Defense. You know, you keep going on the same thing. Let me ask you, one, how many bank accounts does the Labour Party operate? You've cleared the air about who the signatories are at this moment. That's one. Number two, Obidient, who was speaking for the party, said that there are external saboteurs involved, using Oluchi Okpara as agent. Do you know who these saboteurs are, if you share that view? And then number three, is it true? We're hearing that you want to join the gubernatorial race on the platform of the Labour Party in your state, Edo State. You are from Edo, I think Edo Central. You know, is it true that you want to join the race, and that's why new guidelines have been given, and the primaries for Labour Party in Edo State has now been shifted till later in the month? Those three quick questions.
Well, let me state here clearly that we have three accounts. One is Zenith Bank, one in UBA, and then one in Fidelity Bank. And the signatories are the three signatories. Myself as A signatory, National Secretary as B signatory, and the National Treasurer as signatory C. Yes, Obidient stated clearly yesterday, and that's the opinion of the National Working Committee. And I'm sure that you have been following the activities of the party. Our major crime in the party, why people want to destabilize the party, it's not fair for me here to start mentioning names and parties here. If you follow the activities closely, you recall that the party came under attack after the general election of 2023. Obviously, the intention is to destabilize the party, disorganize it, take over the leadership of the party, and therefore destroy the very foundation of the party so that there would be credible opposition in the country. It is clear, very obvious, that a lot of people are being used to disrupt and cause chaos in the party. In Edo State, for instance, I must say here clearly that I'm not interested in the gubernatorial race. I'm not interested, I'm not going to run. I feel that the process must be transparent, must be open, and must be competitive. I have quarreled over the years that the reason why we have failure in leadership is because all other political parties who have given us leaders over the years have lacked internal party democracy, and therefore the best cannot come out of the parties. And therefore, now that I have this opportunity, especially in the Edo State, I will ensure acting and working with my other colleagues in the National Working Committee, that the process will be fair, free, fair, and credible. And I feel that I have that responsibility to ensure that I do that for the people of Edo, to make sure that we get the best of the best candidates. To answer you squarely, I am not running for the office of the governor in Edo State.
All right. Okay, thank you very much for clarifying that. Now, just to mention, because a few things you talked about with regards to the accounts, you say that Maria Lebeke, who was acting chairman during that period, became signatory what month? Just to clarify. January. Okay, so it's
January.
Okay, so it's
Yes.
According to reports, she became a signatory in March, end of March to be precise. So just to clarify that you're stating categorically here on national TV that she became a signatory in January.
I didn't get your question. I didn't get that.
You're saying that she became a signatory in January, contrary to reports that she actually became a signatory end of March.
Yes, obviously. I took over the leadership of the party end of March. And I took over the leadership of the party
I'm talking about
on the 29th day of March.
When she became a signatory of the account? When was it, January or end of March?
January. I took over the leadership of the party in March, and therefore she could not have become signatory of the party end of March.
Okay. All right, so that's clarifying that. That's your word against this.
She became national chairman of the party, acting national chairman of the party on the 31st day of December 2020. And by January, we effected change of signatories and she started running the account. Okay. She ran the account till end of March 2021. And I took over the leadership of the party March 29th. And we effected other changes in the account, and I became the A signatory. So there was no way she could have assumed signatories, or she could. There's no way she would have become signatories to the account after she has been removed from office.
Okay. All right. Just again to clarify, and that's why it's a bit strange. Because what you're saying today is at variance with what Madam Oluchi said when she was here with us. So one person isn't factual with the truth. So what one would have expected would be that in the spirit of fairness, the party would have investigated both claims. Because what she said when she was here on Tuesday was that she didn't co-sign those checks. In fact, she wasn't aware of those checks going out. And what you're saying today is that she was actually aware and that she did sign. So it's your word against hers, and one would assume that thorough investigation.
Let me show you. You see, in law, the evidence speaks for themselves. When I was making my remarks, I showed you of checks here that has co-signed between me and Oluchi Opara. These checks were signed by, this is Oluchi Opara's signature. Last year, June, July, December, all these are the checks, sample of checks that I brought to this studio. I had to print them out yesterday from our records. All these checks I came here with are checks that are signed, co-signed between me and Oluchi Opara. There are some of the checks here that are signed by the three signatories, myself, National Secretary, and National Treasurer, which is herself. Some other checks are here that were co-signed between me and her. This is Oluchi Opara's signature. This is her signature, and this is my signature.
Okay, so
these are recent checks.
The timeline in
that
question,
were signed last year.
The timeline, sorry, Mr. Abure, the timeline in question, I'm not doubting that she might have signed other checks. The timeline in question was 28th of February to 7th of March 2021 was what she questioned. Not the fact that she said that 14 million was withdrawn from the same account between 28th of February to 7th of March 2021. Do you have any of those checks with you? Because that's what she was. That was what she centered on, not just her signing checks generally.
The reason I'm saying this is that she equally alleged that she doesn't run the party, she doesn't know what is happening in the accounts. I'm only proving to you that she has come to lie and to misinform members of the public in order to bring us and bring the party to disrepute. She was on this same studio and told you that she never had access to the accounts. She didn't know how the account was being run. And so I came here with a lot of these checks to show to you that she was lying. I have those checks that were signed between that February and March 2021. Those checks are not here. But these are public documents that you can get from the bank. I expected that you also even tell her to provide those evidence. In law, he who asserts must prove. He who alleges must prove. I had expected that you also ask her to bring the evidence to show that those monies were actually withdrawn without her signature. I have come here to show to you checks that are co-signed between us, between me and Oluchi Opara. Okay. And I've said so clearly that she co-signed those checks, and those checks are available in the bank. And you can go and find out and verify them. Okay,
Mr. Abure, now you know very well, I see you quoting legal principles, but you also know that it's your reputation that is on the line. This is not just about right.
That's why I'm here.
Yeah, but it goes beyond right of reply.
That's why I'm here.
Yeah, it goes beyond right of reply on television. Are you going to sue Oluchi Opara for defamation? Because we asked her to provide evidence, and she said, no, let me finish. And she insisted that, it's up to you to defend yourself. So are you going to sue her? That's number one. Number two is that, don't you find this very embarrassing? In the 2023 general election, Labour Party provided a rallying point for many persons who were looking for change, particularly young people. Some people describe the Labour Party as a third force, as a likely alternative. And with the iconic emergence of Mr. Peter Obi leading that process, there was a lot of enthusiasm about your party. But since the general election, it's either we are hearing Julius Abure fighting Lamidi Akpakpa, or now it is Oluchi Opara versus Julius Abure. Don't you find this embarrassing? And that you people have disappointed the people who invested so much in the Labour Party, thinking that it will be different from the existing political parties? Those two issues.
Yes, I must state here clearly that beyond just right of reply, if not that there was an insistence that I should reply. Ordinarily, I will get people to do the reply and put all these facts before you. But I decided to come here to make some few clarifications on all of these issues. I've said so very clearly. My lawyers are working by today. Those cases will be filed. Cases of defamation will be filed against Oluchukwu Opara, who came to national television to defame my person and to bring down my reputation. This is very clear. There's no way I could have taken this for granted. Like you said and you rightly observed, this is beyond just a right of reply on a national television. I'm going to take steps. In fact, I've taken steps already. My lawyers are filing today or tomorrow cases against Oluchi Opara. Now, to answer the second question, it is unfortunate, and I found this equally very embarrassing, that it is even those within the Labour Party that are being used to destabilize the party. Were you not surprised at the emergence of Apapa Bashiru, who rose up and simply was working against the interest of the party? Today, you can see the allegations and all the spurious allegations made by Oluchi Opara. And I'm sure this is why the National Public Secretary of the party came out yesterday to say it clearly that external factors are using some people in the party to destabilize the party. But this is not surprising in politics, where either those in government or opposition political party who are afraid of the rising fortune of the party, we want to get people within the party to cause chaos in the party. And this is truly the situation, in as much as it's embarrassing to us, but it's a challenge that is before us that we must deal with as a party. And I'm happy that we are dealing with it. You saw the behavior of Apapa and others who attempted, members of the party who attempted to destroy the case of Peter Obi in court, and they took several steps to disparage the party, disorganize the party in the process of that litigation. What does that tell you? That tells you that external hand is involved in this. And this is not also unlikely with the case of Oluchi Opara. She's being used, she's being manipulated, and it's very obvious, it's very clear. And I'm sure that very soon, those who are behind the scene will know, and it will become very, very obvious. You saw what happened to Apapa in the courts.
Yes, sir.
during the court processes.
Yeah.
The people reacted and brought justice to bear right there, because the people saw it clearly. And this is what is happening. Those who have, there are obviously external factors, external hands, is what is happening in Labour Party.
All right, we hear you loud and clear. This is the work of detractors. Now, following yesterday's meeting, a statement by your party also stated counter accusations of Madam Oluchi Okpara's time in office. In fact, one of the things you said was that she ran the accounting process exclusively with the former chairman, and also that there was no single document of the financial records from 2014 to 2021. And so you're accusing herself of perhaps some financial misappropriation and lack of accountability and transparency. How did this go on from 2014 to 2021 without anyone raising any alarm about this? The fact that the accounts were run exclusively, in the words of the press statement, by the former chairman and the treasurer at the time, without anyone raising any alarm?
Well, we raised alarm in 2017, and I spearheaded that struggle for accountability. If you recall, in 2017, the party was also in turmoil like this, where we fought hard, and there was forensic audit reports. I have that report here, where Oluchi Opara was responsible for the signing and transferring of money to personal accounts. All the records are here from 2014
Why wasn't nothing
to
done
2017.
About it? Why wasn't nothing done about it at the time?
Something was done. Something was done about it.
What was done?
There was a national convention. They were all suspended from the party. In fact, the party, as at that time, 2017, I think you should go and check your records.
I've checked
in 2017, there was, please let me explain to you. Since you have asked, I think you should be patient for me to give you the answers. In 2017, there was a special national convention that was called to address all of these issues. And that national convention suspended the four of them. The crisis went on through 2018, and it took the intervention of the former governor of Ondo State, Olusegun Mimiko, and all others to reconcile the party because of the 2019 general election. It became very obvious that if that crisis continued, we won't be able to fit candidates in the 2019 general election, which meant that the party would have been deregistered if we were unable to feature candidates for that election. Therefore, putting the overall interest of the party into perspective, at the instance of Olusegun Mimiko and other leaders of the party who wanted to join the party at that time, we had a reconciliation, and we needed to go back to work with the to work with Abdul Salam Abdul Kadri. She was the treasurer at that time, and those records are here. The audit report is available here, and I can also make it available. That audit report indicted Oluchi Okpara and the immediate past national, the audit report is here. All the records are available.
Mr. Abure, I think, we have the matter on the table. Accusations, counter accusations, allegations, counter allegations. But I'm sure all those people who supported the Labour Party in the 2023 election and who continue to support the party, we just want to be sure that nobody is hiding anything. And you refer to Arise News as a national TV. No, we're international, please. Point of correction. International.
Yes, I agree. I agree with you.
Thank you.